Have you ever noticed that God's timing never matches your timeline? You pray for patience, but instead of peace, you get more traffic jams, longer waiting rooms, and people who test every nerve you have. That's because God doesn't answer the prayer for patience by removing the situations that require it. He answers by transforming you in the middle of them. Today, we're diving into a verse that reveals the divine connection between joy, suffering, and the prayer life that sustains us through it all. Rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing steadfastly in prayer. Romans 12:12. Paul isn't giving us three separate instructions here. He's showing us three interlocking gears that power the Christian life. Notice he doesn't say, try to be patient or work on your patience. He says, be patient in tribulation while continuing steadfastly in prayer. The prayer isn't preparation for patience. The prayer is the lifeline that makes patience possible. When you pray for patience, you're not asking God to make life easier. You're asking Him to make you stronger. The word tribulation here isn't talking about minor inconveniences. In the original Greek, it's thlipsis, which literally means pressure, crushing, or being squeezed into a tight place. This is the kind of pressure that makes you want to quit, to snap, to give up on people and give up on God. Yet Paul says to be patient right there, right in that crushing moment. That's not human strength. That's supernatural endurance that only comes from one source. Look at the phrase, continuing steadfastly in prayer. The Greek word for continuing steadfastly is proskarterio, which means to persist, to be intently focused, to refuse to give up. It's the same word used to describe how the early church devoted themselves to prayer in Acts. This isn't casual prayer or Sunday morning prayer. This is warrior prayer, desperate prayer, the kind of prayer that says, God, if you don't come through, I'm done. Here's what most people miss. Patience isn't a personality trait you're born with. Patience is a byproduct of a praying life. When you're steadfast in prayer, you're constantly reconnecting with the one who holds all time in his hands. You start seeing your situation from his perspective. That rude coworker becomes a soul who needs Jesus. That delayed breakthrough becomes an opportunity to trust God's timing. That unanswered prayer becomes a testimony in the making. But notice Paul starts with rejoicing in hope. You can't pray for patience effectively if you've lost sight of your hope. Hope isn't wishful thinking. It's confident expectation of God's promises. When you rejoice in hope, you're declaring that your future is secure in Christ, that your present pain has purpose, and that your prayers are never wasted. This joy isn't based on your circumstances. It's anchored in the character of God who cannot lie. The order matters here. Joy fuels patience. Patience is sustained by prayer, and prayer deepens your joy because it keeps you connected to the God of hope. It's a divine cycle that breaks the human cycle of frustration and impatience. When you pray for patience, you're really praying for the strength to stay in this cycle instead of jumping off when things get hard. Think about Jesus in Gethsemane. He prayed so intensely that his sweat became like drops of blood. That's steadfast prayer in tribulation. And what did that prayer produce? The patience to endure the cross, despising the shame for the joy set before him. Jesus modeled this verse perfectly. He rejoiced in hope, remained patient through unimaginable tribulation, and prayed without ceasing. His patience saved your soul. When you pray for patience today, don't expect God to remove the difficult people or circumstances. Expect Him to meet you in prayer and change your perspective. Expect Him to remind you of the hope you have in Christ. Expect Him to give you strength to endure one more day, one more conversation, one more disappointment. Patience isn't passive waiting. It's active faith that keeps praying when everything in you wants to quit. The Christian life isn't about having it all together. It's about staying connected to the one who holds it all together. Your impatience is a signal that you need to pray more, not try harder. Your frustration is an invitation to encounter God in a deeper way. Your tribulation is the very place where patience is forged, but only if you keep praying steadfastly through it. So today, make the commitment. Don't just pray for patience as a one-time request. Pray steadfastly. Pray when you're stuck in traffic. Pray when your kids are testing you. Pray when your dreams seem delayed. Pray when nothing makes sense. Because the patience you're desperate for is found in the presence of the God you're praying to. The more you pray, the more patient you become, because you're becoming more like Him.